Jim, it makes you wonder if Tony Khan's ever gone on Prize Picks and tried to figure out which of his wrestlers will be disgruntled or upset or deny being disgruntled or upset. And on that topic, have you been following what's been going on with, I guess, Malakai Black, Buddy Matthews, and the overall House of Black?
I've been trying to, I don't think Sherlock Holmes could follow this. To be honest, there's conflicting reports from everybody. I won't go into the whole thing. We talked about Malakai Black on the programs the last couple of weeks. He said that he wanted to take a break from wrestling. He'd had problems in his personal life, whatever. Okay, that's fine. But then the story got out that he wanted to go back to the WWE because of Triple H. And conflicting reports have come out from his own mouth as to how long his contract is and or whether he asked for his release. And now Buddy is in the same boat. Buddy told people on an independent show, just like Malakai, well, I need to step back and recalibrate a little bit, get away from this. Okay. But then stories are circulating that he asked for his release and that Tony's not granting any releases and this whole merry mess. What have you got on this, Brian? You tell me what's going on.
To talk about this briefly, like you just said, I'll play you some audio. I'll play you how it was covered on the Wrestling News, because that's a way of covering it without any opinion or anything, just a straight version of what's happening. But when he said, or when you said that the 5-year contract thing is in contention, that was Tony Khan who said that. It wasn't even him. Tony Khan said that in an interview somewhere.
Yeah, Malakai Black is denying that he has a 5-year contract, whereas Tony Khan just said a couple of months ago, well, he's got almost 5 years left on his contract. So which one?
And then in terms of wanting a release or not, whether, you know, what's true and what isn't, he's the one who just put out the statement saying, I did indeed request my release.
Well, no, he just put out the statement saying he didn't ask for his release. The statement he put out where he started, I did indeed ask for my release, was a few weeks ago.
Well, on that topic, let's go to the Wrestling News. Of course, at thewrestlingnews.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast, check out the Wrestling News. Here is a sample of it. Mike Sempervive, the anchor, covering the Malakai Black story from this morning as we are recording.
Speaking of Malakai Black, he got on his Instagram Live late Monday night to launch a tirade directed at, quote, the dirt sheets about his current status in professional wrestling and said he's gotten death threats as a result of rumors that have swirled online. The following does contain strong language.
Those people, they don't care about my mental health. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about my wife. They don't care. Not one single thing of it is true. So, again, if you were part of this mob that felt the need to even send me death threats, then, well, thank you, dirt sheets, because clearly, those people, they don't care about my mental health. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about my wife. They don't care about my family. They don't give a shit. All they want is dumb clicks for stuff that they're making up, because they're tying bridges between things that are no longer there, that don't exist, because they want that narrative to exist. But again, I'm sure that it will be deemed as tomorrow there will be a different narrative, and tomorrow there will be it'll be oh, we got the wrong information. Oh, we heard it from this. Oh, don't blame us. We're just reporting. No, you're not. A real person will own up to their bullshit. They will own up to their words, and they say, you know what, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It's on me. Because if the words come out of your mouth, then, own it. Just own it. Anyway, I would like to very much go back to just working on my stuff, working on my private life, working on, getting to the point of, feeling good again.
On September 17th, Black wrestled for Prestige Wrestling and after the match addressed the crowd saying he was going to take some time off and adding, I promise you this is not goodbye, this is just we'll see each other soon. The next day, Black posted on his Instagram that he did in fact ask for his release from AEW and revealed several reasons as to why, including several out-of-ring events, a nagging injury, and, quote, promises in my professional field that were not upheld. In that same post, Black expressed his frustrations that private conversations between him and AEW were made public and unhappiness over rumors online about his personal life or receiving a conditional release.
Well, there it is, Jim, as it was reported.
That cleared everything up, didn't it?
The wrestling news. The audio of Malakai Black last night, as we are recording in the middle of the night, apparently, issuing a statement, in some ways seemingly contradicting previous things he said. Again, that was only a portion of the audio. What are your thoughts on all this? Are you caught up to date?
Well, apparently, but not with Buddy. We've still got to talk about Buddy. But with Malakai, the House of Black now has more vacancies than the Bates Motel. Have you noticed that? They're bailing out of that thing. Did he say he got death threats?
He did.
For what? For what would somebody threaten him with death for saying, either I want to take time off and straighten out my personal life, or even if he asked for his release? What the fuck is there a death threat for that? The only death threat I can think of might be called for if he came out and made a statement, hey, you're going to have to see all of us in the House of Black on every TV show ever done from now on. Then somebody might have to take matters in their own hands. But, and also, do the kids these days in the wrestling business, Brian, think that these death threats are actually serious or legitimate or to be taken seriously?
That's the other thing. It used to be you got death threats because you had heat. If this is true and you got death threats, it's death threats because you're threatening to go to another company. Maybe. Or the rumor is.
Maybe.
I mean, what is this? And he blamed the dirt sheets. I mean, he said, thank you, dirt sheets, right after he mentioned the death threat.
And also, here's another thing. Kids in the business these days saying dirt sheets. The dirt sheets are older than they are. And again, some sheets are dirt sheets and some sheets are not sheets. They're reputable news outlets, such as the Wrestling News or PWInsider.com or things of that nature. But nevertheless, I don't know what this fucking guy is doing. And apparently he doesn't either. And who knows whether anybody in AEW does. But if all of this stuff has been misreported and misdiagnosed and we got the story all wrong, then what is his tag team partner doing the same exact thing? He goes and makes an independent show, Buddy, and says the same thing. I need to recalibrate and need to step away for a little while. You'll see me again soon, but for now. And he's doing the exact same thing. So what's going on here? It's awful. I can understand one person having this particular issue come up and want to take some time off, but two people in the same tag team, in the same company, at the same time? Sounds a little odd, doesn't it? That's all I'm saying. I don't know what's going on, but sounds a little odd.
It is a bit odd. And again, you're saying that you have a problem with the rumors and the people telling the story, and then you tell bits and pieces of the story, sometimes in code or riddle or just not in proper English. And then when people go ahead.
Maybe he can't make a declarative statement, because if he made a declarative statement, sticking to the story he's telling right now, that at some point it would come out that he's not telling a straight story. That's the only reason I can think of for it. We don't want to know what your personal issue is. But instead of beating around the fucking snatch for goddamn whoever knows how long, come out and say, here's the length of my contract and I'm going to honor it. I'm only taking a few weeks or whatever time off from wrestling. All the rest of this is nonsense, and it will be proven that I'm speaking the truth when I return to AEW in the next short little while. And that didn't take me nearly as long as what his statement was, and it kind of gets everything covered if that is indeed the case.
Social media may not be for everyone, especially if you're in... No, I'm not even being funny. But, I was going to say maybe show business isn't for everyone. But social media isn't for everyone. I mean, if he's getting death threats and all this thing and he's hearing all this negative feedback, turn off your computer and get away from all that shit. And I'm not saying this to criticize him. I'm giving this just in general. I think there's too many people who live around the feedback. Just turn the shit off and get the fuck away from it all.
I don't think they know how to exist without it. Because I got news for everybody. The day that I fully retire, quit doing this program, you ain't going to see me on Twitter. You ain't going to see me on, well, you don't see me on Facebook now. You're not going to see me anywhere because I'm going to be home minding my own business, puttering in the yard. I don't give a fuck what anybody else in the world thinks or thinks about me. I do not need to check in to see what's going on. As long as there is not a spaceship or dark clouds with menacing fucking lightning right over the top of my fucking house, I don't care. And nothing that anybody says affects the way that I think about things. I decide for myself. So I can more or less completely do without the internet and or any related activity except for business in my life. But they can't. Nobody can these days.
And again, we're hearing from him a lot now about his mental health. He's saying, I don't want people talking about it, but he's talking, like he's propelling it, and I'm not sure if you realize that.
I don't want people talking about what I brought up.
Jim, if you were Triple H, and I'm going to use Wrestler X because it could be anyone, but if Wrestler X is behaving in a similar manner publicly, either because they're really going through stuff or, let's be honest, there are people that think he wants to get out of his contract and other people. There are people that think that the people who asked to be released really do want to be released.
Amazing. Amazing that you would think that somebody said, when somebody says, hey, I don't want to work here anymore, that you would come to the conclusion that they don't want to work there anymore. It's amazing.
But if Wrestler X is having a public display like this, and you can tell it's a mess for the company he's working for, whether it's a Brian Pillman or a Malakai Black or any other example, if you're a Triple H, do you think twice before you bring that person in?
Well, I mean, don't group Pillman in that because Pillman actually it was
a work
doing things on purpose to make him more notorious. And sometimes he just didn't tell the people he was working with because they couldn't carry it off. I would tell anybody any of the wrestlers that would be working in this fictitious company that I was in charge of, if I was Triple H or whatever exercise in fantasy that we're doing, it wouldn't just be if they were airing their personal problems or dirty laundry or whatever. I would say if you get on social media, then you are who you are on our television, and you speak that way and you act that way and you look that way every single time you're on social media, or don't be on it. Or if you want to be on it, then you won't be working here. Pick. Because I'm sorry, I'm sick and tired of phony fucking wrestlers that have one gimmick on television and then they're on social media crying about, if they're a heel, they're crying about their personal problems like somebody's supposed to give them sympathy. Or if they're a baby face, they're to whatever the fuck, or they're goddamn with their arms around their mortal enemy on television. All that's bullshit. You don't need to tell the entire world every goddamn time you have a ham sandwich for lunch, or everything you do in your life, or fucking make note of, take a picture of every goddamn place you go, or thing you see, or meal you have, or whatever the fuck. Nobody else cares. I don't care what any of you people eat or drink. I don't care where you go for vacation. Why would you care about me? It's fucking ridiculous. So don't air your dirty laundry, don't talk about your personal problems, and don't fucking gripe about your goddamn boss on social media until you tell the boss to take the job and shove it, and then you can fucking knock him all you want to. But it's not just wrestlers, it's everybody. They've all gone crazy. Everybody thinks that somebody gives a fuck about all your goddamn problems or your fucking joys or your triumphs or tragedies or whatever the fuck. And no, that's not true. Most people don't give a shit because they got their own triumphs, tragedies, problems, and etc. So just if you're going to be a wrestler and you're going to get on social media, talk like the person you are on TV, or just stay home and look at your goddamn family album. Don't fucking tell everybody in the world everything they need to know about you. I've never understood it, but that's just me.